Hello, and welcome to Mental Resurrection, Unleashing the Mental Alchemist Within. My name is Issachar Bey, and I'm excited about you joining in and being a part of this teaching for today. Listen, those of you that are coming in right now, please like, share on this program. Yes, like and share this program. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel so that you guys will have access to knowing when we're going to release things and when we're going to be on and so forth. Also, in the chat, write down what city you call it, what city you're tuning in from, what city you're listening in from. In the chat, put in the city that you are currently residing in so we can see how far we're casting our nets all over the world. And so we are excited about that. I want you to get in a comfortable position. I want you to get very comfortable. I want you to go with me into this spiritual mind treatment that we're going to get into right before the teaching. So if you get into this spiritual mind treatment, we're going to get ourselves in a comfortable position, very quiet, somewhere where we can meditate and begin to center ourselves in the divine mind, in spirit and oneness, and so that we can go forward into today's teaching to go further in our course, in our journey, in our being able to bring in this level of knowledge and wisdom and understanding. Those of you that are with us, once again, we want to thank you, and we definitely commend you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be a part of us and to join us. We are excited about what we're doing, and I'm really excited about us moving over to the YouTube platform. I think it makes us a little bit more accessible, and it also makes us more visual so that people can respond and see us and, and definitely connect with us in a major way. So we're excited about that. As we get ready to do this spiritual mind treatment, just repeat after me. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Again, inhale and exhale. Repeat after me. In this sacred moment, I recognize the honor and the essence of the four elements that coexist within the fabric of creation. I acknowledge their profound power to aid me in manifesting my heart's deepest desires. As I embark on this spiritual mind treatment, I surrender to the wisdom of the universe and invite the manifestation of my intentions. Air, the breath of life. I call upon your essence to infuse my thoughts and beliefs with clarity and expansiveness. I release any limitations of doubt that hinder my ability to manifest. I draw in inspiration and exhale any fears or uncertainties. May the winds of wisdom guide my every step, allowing my intuition to take flight and manifest effortlessly. Fire, the spark of divine passion that ignites my soul. I embrace your transformative energy. I allow fire within me to burn away any resistance or outdated beliefs that no longer serve my highest good. With each flicker of the flame, I cultivate the courage and determination to pursue my dreams. May the fire of my intuition illuminate my path and fuel the manifestation process. Water, the gentle yet powerful force of flow and emotional healing. I call upon your nurturing essence. I allow the waters of love and compassion to wash away any past wounds or emotional blocks that hinder my manifestation. Like a river, I surrender to the divine flow of abundance and prosperity. May the healing waters of my intention cleanse and purify my mind, body, and spirit, allowing my desires to effortlessly manifest. Earth, the fertile ground of creation. I honor your grounding and nurturing energy. I connect with the stability and abundance that you provide. I plant the seeds of my intentions deep within the soul of my consciousness, knowing that they will sprout and flourish in divine timing. May the solid foundation of my desires take root in the physical realm, manifesting with grace and ease. In this sacred union of these four elements, I acknowledge the power within me to manifest my heart's desires. I release any attachment to the outcome and trust that the universe will align all necessary resources and opportunities to support my manifestation. I surrender to the divine flow of life and allow my intentions to manifest in perfect harmony with the highest good of all. With deep gratitude, I release this spiritual mind treatment to the universe, knowing that it is already done. And so it is. And so it is. And so it is. Thank you, those of you that tuned in and are part of this for the spiritual mind treatment. Uh, these spiritual mind treatments are very powerful. Words have powers, as which we will get into learning this as we go through this journey. But it's something about being centered. It's something about allowing us to connect and begin to tap into the divine mind, the inner source, to get us where we need to be, to align us and make sure that we are operating in balance. We are now operating today. In today's teaching, we're going to be discussing, continuing from what we discussed last week. I want to thank all of you. If this is your first time tuning in with us, I want to thank all of you for being a part of it. If you're just tuning in, please like, share, and also subscribe to the channel. Also put in the comment what city and state you're viewing or listening to us from. We definitely want to see and want to know where you're from, and we thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to definitely join us. My name is Issachar Bey. I am the founder and the senior director of the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center, and I'm based here in the city of San Antonio in the state of Texas, and we are definitely happy and joyful that you are part of us and that you're taking this journey with us. If you look at the description, we have all of our services, all of our contact information, anything that you guys would need, it's all there. You can just govern yourselves accordingly in the description below. I wanted to piggyback a little bit off of what we discussed last week. We talked about the mental alchemy. We talked about unleashing the mental alchemist within. We talked about bringing us into a place of self-discovery. We talked about getting out of the audience and getting on stage, getting out of the audience and getting on stage. But here's the thing. A mental alchemist is somebody who can take thought and begin to manifest it and transform it into physical reality. It's almost like the alchemist that can take the metal and begin to transform it into gold and silver, right? As a mental alchemist, your goal, your ability is to take the thought, the concept, the dream, the goal, this vision that you have, and take it from something that's intangible, something that cannot be seen, touched, hear, taste, or felt, and begin to transform this thing into a tangible reality that one can see it, touch it, and feel it, and that you can now begin to embrace and release into the world your creation, your manifestation. And when we talked about self-discovery, we talked about not who your name was. As a matter of fact, we gave you a little homework last week. We talked about last week really thinking and focusing on who am I? You know, not what your name is, but really who I am as far as getting a level of self-discovery. I think when you discover who you are, when you discover that you get into that inclination of knowing who you are, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, knowing what your purpose and your destiny is, it does something to transform the journey and the altitude upon which you're going to elevate and grow. Today, I wanted to go a little further in our self-discovery, because before I can be a mental alchemist, I got to know who I am. Because I can't begin to bring into fruition, create something, manifest something, and I don't know who I am. Knowing who I am is the key, is the necessary, the bottom line foundation into one which I'm going to build my mental alchemy. It is the elevation of who I am is knowing the foundation of knowing who I am. Today we're going to dig a little deeper because I wanted to get into a level of self-discovery. We talked about last week how we can find out that everybody has been dealt a hand in the game of life, right? And we talked about how it doesn't matter how good or bad the hand is that you were dealt, but how you play that hand to win, right? We talked about that. But in self-discovery, I wanted to dive a little bit today into the four elements. The four elements. I wanted to get into the four elements because there's something very significant about water, air, fire, and earth, right? And as a mental alchemist, we must learn how to utilize and master the four elements. Now, before we get started into four elements, we're still operating right now in discovery. Everybody that's listening to me now, in the comments, in the chat, I want you to write this down. Do you know the element that you are? And when I say that, I'll go over the elements and you can write down which element are you. Elements are, your element is determined by the date you were born, the time you were born, and the place you were born. So if you are of the water element, that means you're either your zodiac sign is either going to be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. So anybody who's a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces, you're of the water element, right? Anybody who's a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, you're of the air element, right? Anybody who's Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius is a fire sign. And last but not least, if you are a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, happy birthday to all the Capricorns. We're in Capricorn season. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, you are of the element of earth. And so these four elements are very significant because, wait a minute, if I'm going to master anything in life, I got to know who I am. But now today, we're going to discover what element are we predominantly operating in. So everybody listening to me right now, type in the element in the chat, type in the element that you are. Listen, your element is going to be the foundation upon how you're going to operate as a mental alchemist. See, we've been doing things wrong. We've been doing things because we see other people do them. We've been doing things on TV because this is the way it looks like on TV, on Instagram and Facebook, not getting to understand the concept that we're not like anybody else. And what I mean by that, which we're going to get into today, people who are of the water element, they don't operate like people of the air element. People of the air element, they don't operate as people of the fire element. And people of the fire element, they don't operate as people of the earth element. And the earth element doesn't act like the fire, doesn't operate like the air, doesn't operate like the water. Water doesn't operate as air. Water doesn't operate as fire. Water doesn't operate as earth. Every element operates a specific way for a specific reason. And when you understand the element that you predominantly operate in, we must learn how to embrace that element and learn everything we can about that element. Why? Because that element is going to be the predominant element that we're going to be operating on or operating in this lifetime. That element is going to be how I move, and go to and begin to manifest and begin to do things. And so you're looking at somebody do something and you're trying to do it and you're getting frustrated because you're trying to do this thing and it's not working. The reason it's not working is because that person is an earth element. You're a water element. You can't do the same thing that an earth element does. They say oil and water don't mix. So there has to be an understanding of what element am I embracing. I got to be able to understand the elemental variations because I need to understand them. Listen, anybody who's married, anybody who has children, you have brothers and sisters. You're married to an element. Your children are elements. Once you learn the element of your children, you learn how to connect with them differently. You may have two sons. One may be a Virgo, one may be a Cancer. That's water and earth. They operate differently. We have to get to understand the significance of the elemental variations. If I'm going to be a mental alchemist, I must learn how to embrace my most dominant element. My most dominant element. And we're just speaking about elements here because when I call out the Cancer, the Scorpio, and the Pisces, there's so many different things I can go. There's so many different ways I can go into that. But we're just for today, we're just going to focus on the elemental aspect of those zodiac signs. And I put the signs there because that gives you a little bit more inclination of you right away knowing what element you are. So whether you're water, air, fire, or earth, we're going to dive into understanding what each one of those mean. But I want you to get an understanding of how important the elements are. See, when you start moving and understanding who you're dealing with and how to operate, things begin to change differently. Now, just from this information that you got today, you're going to start looking at everything differently. You're going to start looking at your spouse differently. You may start looking at your kids differently. You may start looking at your brothers and your sisters and your mother and your father. Everybody is a different variation of an element. Once you know their element, you know how to relate to them. You know how to connect with them. You know how to begin to attach to them and begin to connect because I know what your element is. Before I can become this mental alchemist that I want to become, I want to be able to manifest everything my heart's desire. I want to be able to be, and have all of my heart desires. I want to be able to manifest money, manifest all of my dreams. I want to be able to, everything I put my hands to become successful. In order to do that, listen, we got to realize there's no accidents and there's no mistakes in life, right? The best way to predict the future is to create it. So as creators, I would rather learn how to become a creator because I believe that working smarter is better than working harder. The great Reverend Ike used to say, work your mind and not your behind. So I think when you understand the element of your person, of who you are and your purpose in life, the elemental variation is going to change a lot of your lives because even in relationships, right? You were dealing with a person and, y'all clash, y'all, it seems like y'all always button heads, but that's because you don't understand the elemental differences. After today, hopefully you will be able to now understand why this person is the way they are, and now you can make adjustments and how you want to deal with these things. But guess what? Not only we're dealing with family and people and your job and your friends and your loved ones, but we want to learn how to utilize these elements to once again transform an intangible thought into a physical reality. That's what our end goal is. Water, air, fire, and earth. The concept of the four elements, earth, water, air, and fire, originates from an ancient philosophy and alchemical traditions. These elements are symbolic representations of different aspects of nature and are often associated with specific qualities. In the context of what we would call a mental or what we would call mental alchemy, these elements are used metaphorically to explain the process of turning thoughts into physical manifestations. Air, the element of air. So if you are a Taurus, a Virgo, or a Capricorn, you are an earth element. Earth represents stability. It represents grounding. It represents materiality, right? In mental alchemy, the element of earth is associated with the physical body and tangible aspects of manifestation. It represents the solid foundation upon which thoughts and intentions can be realized, right? To manifest thoughts in the physical reality, the mental alchemist focuses on grounding their intentions. Now, let me say this. Those of you that are all the earth signs, right? What that means is that, for instance, if the person who's of the earth element is going to be manifesting their dreams and goals, they're going to be operating in a practical connotation, which means that you're going to see them writing in their journals. You're going to see them having a vision board. They need to physically see it. They need to physically touch it, right? The earth element people may not be very big in meditation. No, they might not be very big in meditation, but they definitely are very practical in writing things down, vision board. Maybe they need to see the process. They need to, instead of imagining, or they need to physically see it. They need to touch it. They need to have everything in a practical connotation. And so that's what happens on the earth plane. On the earth planes, I got to see it. I got to touch it. I got to feel it. But because it's an intangible goal, everything I do to bring this thing into fruition will be of a physical connotation. It will have to be something very physical. I may have to go to the dealership and drive the car around. I may have to sit inside of the car to feel it, to feel the leather, to feel myself in the car. These are the things that an earth element would probably do to bring things into fruition. You know what? I need to walk through the house. I need to walk in every room. I need to touch the doors. I need to feel the essence of the house. I need to walk in the backyard and walk in the front yard and go into the basement. I need to, because this is what earth element does. And so when we talk about, to manifest their thoughts into physical reality, mental alchemists focus on grounding their intentions, right? How can I, you may see people of an earth element have an altar. They may have candles lit. Because these are things of physical ramifications. These are things they can see, they can touch. So they would be the ones that will use this. They will take practical actions. They will establish a strong foundation for their desired outcomes, because they believe and know that the power of manifesting has to be connected to my element. And if I'm an earth element, then I got to be very practical. There's nothing else that I can do outside of the practicality but just be me. Listen, never try to be anything other than who you are. If you are an earth element, operate in that element. You don't have to try to be like the water element. You don't have to try to be like the fire element. You don't have to try to be like any other element. Just be your element. I'm not trying to be air. I'm not trying to be water. I'm not trying to be fire. I'm me. I'm earth. And understand at the core being of who you are, you're operating out of earth. You're practicality. You're a practical person. So anybody, and I'll just throw this out here. I want to go off the charts real quick, just for a few minutes. if you're in a relationship, you have kids, you have a mother, you have a father, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a brother, you have a sister who are all the earth elements. Anybody who's a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, now you know that they operate physically. They don't go by what you might do. They don't have the hopes and the wishes and the dreams and you know what, one day this will happen and magically this will come from the sky. They need the practical. They need to see it in writing. They need to see the spreadsheet. They need to see the business plan. They need to see your vision board. They need to operate out of things that are practical. Not what you hope you're going to do. Let's see what you're doing. So understand how the earth element operates. Now, water. Our water elements are going to be Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, right? And so the water element symbolizes emotions, intuition, fluidity, and in mental alchemy, I would say that the element of water would represent the flow of your intuition, the flow of your emotions, the flow of your feeling power, right? Of your feeling nature. Water signs operate by how they feel. They operate by how they feel. A mental alchemist must recognize the importance of aligning their emotions with their thoughts, creating that harmonious energy field, right? Now, even in that, even by cultivating positive emotions and maintaining a state of emotional balance, when I say emotions, I mean feelings. So understand that emotions are always going to be connected to feelings. So instead of feelings, I'm going to say emotions, right? But water signs are always connected to how they feel, not by what you say, not by what's on CNN, not by. Now, what happens is there's things that can elevate or deter their emotions or their feelings, but they operate by how they feel. Earth signs operate practicality. I need to see it. I need to touch it. I need to feel it. Water signs need to say, well, let me see how I feel. How do I feel about this? But what happens is, because we operate by how we feel, we're very sensitive. We can be very sensitive. So, for instance, I'm a Pisces. I'm a water sign. I operate by how I feel. When I meet people, I can feel their energy. I can feel their. I can get a connection to them on a more spiritual or an intuitive level. So I operate in that. Many times, as a water sign, you find yourself becoming a. People go to the water to release. You get into the ocean and you wash up, you wash yourself off, you cleanse yourself, you get baptized in water. Water is a place of release, right? There may be many water signs, and as I'm saying these, calling out your element, you can definitely continue to write in the chat and let us know what element you are and your experiences as that element. So as a water element, you're going to realize that people are going to be releasing onto you. And what I mean by that, anybody who is a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces, you might find yourself becoming a person that people just walk up to you. I mean, there's been plenty of times I've been in the supermarket on the line getting ready to check out, and a woman behind me would just start talking to me and say, hey, today was a rough day. Today marks 2 years that my sister passed away, and, it's been very detrimental to the family. And this woman is just telling me all of her business. She's just telling me all of this stuff. She doesn't even know my name. She don't even know who I am. But because I'm a water element, that water, it will draw in the empathy. It will draw in the sensitivity that this woman can feel comfortable enough that she will be able to say to me or tell me her most deep, dark issues or discretions or whatever it is that she has. And so in that, we find ourselves moving and growing and operating and doing things in that level so that we can begin to operate as a water sign. As a water sign, we operate by how we feel. You know, it was like, we want to go ahead and do this and do that. When you're manifesting, when you're operating out of water, your intuition is important. Your emotional stability is important. You have to be able to understand and operate out of your intuition. You have to be able to control your feelings. Don't let your feelings control you. Now, I know that's hard to believe for the water signs, but it's because we operate how we feel. We have to make sure that we don't allow people to rattle our cage, so to speak, or cause us to lose ourselves in our emotions. For instance, I say this: nobody can hurt your feelings without your permission. This is for the water signs. This is for everybody, but right now I'm delegating this to the water signs. If somebody says you're ugly, right, that doesn't mean anything. But if you believe what that person says and you take it in and accept it as being true, you now have given that person permission to hurt your feelings because they told you were ugly. You believed it. You accepted it as being true. It hurt you, and now you're hurt. But you, the one that gave yourself the permission to accept and believe that. So as a water sign, you have to be very careful of how you operate with your feeling nature, because as a water sign, we operate with the fluid. We move, we flow. And your intuition, your feeling nature is very important. How you move and operate, how you're able to cultivate that balance of your emotional nature, which means that I'm locking in with who I am. I'm operating in my element, which means that when I'm manifesting, I'm going by how I feel. So I gotta get myself to feeling motivated. I gotta get myself to feel prosperous, to feel successful, to feel adventurous, and to feel like I'm going to achieve this great thing that I'm setting forth to do, because I'm in control of my feelings. They say when you feel good, you look good. When you look good, you act good, you dress good, everything flows to you. And your feeling nature, believe it or not, is what magnetizes to you the very things that you have on your mind. Your feeling nature, how do you feel? And so we have to learn, water signs, how to control our feelings. It's very crazy sometimes, because I can walk in a room somewhere and I can just get this feeling like the energy is not good in the room. And I'll say to somebody that's with me, well, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere else or whatever, because I don't really feel like this may be the place for me. And they may say to me, but why would you say that? We just got here. Nobody said anything to you. We just walked in a room. But they don't realize that I move and operate out of a water element. So my element is going to be a little different from their element. You understand? So once again, if you're listening to this, if you have any children, you have a husband, a wife, a spouse, brother, sister, mother, father, and you are of a water sign, you understand that they're going to operate by how they feel, their intuition, their feeling nature. They're going to be very sensitive, very impotent. They're going to be like almost empaths, where they pull in everything that they're connected to. And like I said, I could go 1,000 different ways on really to break this down, but we just want to stay on the elements. We want to look at the air element. Anybody who is a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, you're of the air element. That means that your predominant element is air. Air, the air we breathe, right? The air. Air represents intellect. It represents communication. It represents clarity of thought. In mental alchemy, the element of air would signify the power of the mind and the ability to focus thoughts and tensions, right? Mental alchemists begin to understand the importance of clear and focused thinking in when they're manifesting their desires, right? To cultivate a positive mindset, practice visualization techniques, using affirmations to strengthen their mental faculties and align their thoughts with desired outcomes. So listen, the air signs operate by how they think, not by how they feel, not by what they see, touch, taste, or can embrace physically. They move by how they think. The Gemini, the Libra, the Aquarius, they move by how they think. So what that means is that in your element of who you are as a mental alchemist, you're going to need to start moving and operating and realizing, oh, I move by how I think. What's going to be important to me is my belief patterns, my thought patterns, how I think. What's going to be very important is my intellect, my communication, right? My ability to clarify my thoughts, my ability to be able to utilize my mind in a special way, because I really can't do anything outside of that. I'm not a feeling person. I don't do the water thing. I don't do the intentions. I don't do the intuition. I don't do the emotional harmony balancing. I don't do that. I'm not a person that needs to physically see it. I'm not a person that needs to have it, touch, taste, feel. I'm a person that needs to think it. I need to have it in my mind. If I can't have it in my mental capacity, then it's really not going to really move. So I have to be able to operate in that capacity of of my mind power to begin to think and to begin to really think in my mind how this thing is going to come to fruition. What are going to be the components of me? And if you're like that, that's great. All the air signs, all the Geminis, the Libras, and Aquarius, that's great. But embrace that element that you're in. Embrace that element. There's nothing wrong with you using your element to manifest and do what you need to do. No element is better than the other. What we're going to learn is that you need all the elements together anyway. But we are just today talking about the most dominant element of who we are. We're still in self-discovery. So you're discovering now that you're an air element. See, a lot of people will tell you, oh, the zodiac signs, oh, that's of the devil. That isn't. No. It's deeper than that. You're learning your element, who you are elementally. You're an air sign, right? So in the air, I'm looking at the concept of thought, the concept of belief. How can I restructure my thinking? How can I restructure my belief patterns? Because these are going to affect me because this is how I operate. This is how I operate. And then, of course, I want to make sure that I'm using my mental abilities to the best of my ability. I want to make sure that I'm 100%. I want to make sure that I'm removing all negativity. All these things are very powerful. But at the same time, embrace your element. The next element is going to be fire, the fire element. And all of you who are fire signs or fire elements would be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius are the fire signs. And the fire element symbolizes transformation. It symbolizes passion and action. In mental alchemy, the element of fire represents the energy and the motivation needed to bring thoughts into physical reality. Mental alchemists harness the power of passion, determination, and active effort to fuel the manifestation process, right? They take inspired actions to overcome obstacles, to help them persevere in their pursuits to manifest their desires. In alchemy, the process of turning one's thoughts into a physical manifestation um, will also involve you understanding your element. Now, for the fire, the fire. Those of you who are, and maybe, like I said, this is so good because it goes deeper than just what we're talking about today. But anybody who's an Aries, a Leo, or Sagittarius, they're of the fire sign, and so they're very passionate. They're very determined. They move by what motivates them, what inspires them. They move by the ability to hold the. So for the fire signs, it's almost like a candle that must not go unburned. That passion, that enthusiasm, that determination, the will, right, of the fire that gives them the inspired action to keep going. The fire, the energy that it takes for them to go. That's how the fire signs operate. Fires don't operate like water. Fire don't operate like air. Fire don't operate like earth. So fire goes by what motivates me, what inspires me, what allows me to have passion. What am I passionate about? So anybody who's a fire sign, what are you passionate about? What gives you the motivation? What makes you wake up every morning? What makes you go? I would say to a fire sign, what do you love to do, and would you do it for free? Because what motivates you, what gives you the passion, what gives you the enthusiasm, what gives you all of that stuff allows you to go forth to take those inspired actions. You're going to deal with things much differently than everybody else. As a mental alchemist, we're going to move into a position to where we are embracing our core element, but still learning how to utilize the other ones. And what I mean by that is this. When you understand the balancing of the four elements in oneself by aligning your thoughts, emotions, intellect, and actions, you will get the desired outcome. So, once again, I don't want anybody to go outside of their element. What I mean by that is this. You don't have to operate like a water sign if you're an earth sign. You don't have to operate like a fire sign if you're an air sign. You will begin to understand your core element. And even when you get off of this, out of this teaching today, you can go and do research on your element to find out the things that you may want to go into a deep study, a deep dive into more wisdom and knowledge, or get more about what your sign means and what it does on a spiritual connotation, right? When we think about the elements, mental alchemists can harness the power of these elements to manifest their intentions in the physical world. You are your core element. And so now you understand the understanding of this. And I hear people saying this already, you know, what elements go together. You want to find a balance with all the elements, but the opposite elements attract. So earth will always go with water, fire will always go with air. It's a compatibility complex. You will see it happen over the times. You know, you will definitely see the concept. And if I'm on this call, you know, you will see it happen. Now, me being a Pisces, I guess I'm going this route because somebody wants to hear this. I feel like I'm getting pulled into this, but I'm just going to go here for a minute, and then we're going to go back on track. But with the elements, yes. So water will go with earth, will complement earth. Air will complement fire, right? So for the water signs, right? I myself am a Pisces, but my best relationships have always been with earth sign people. So when I say, I would say my relationships. So if you are a air sign, I see a lot of air signs with fire. I see a lot of Aquarius with Leo. You see a lot of Aries, maybe with a Gemini, or you may see a lot of Libras with, whatever the mix is. So just on that note, but just to let you know, we're talking about elements. There's a lot of other things that go into place for the comparison, but just on a regular level, and not saying that if you're married to somebody that's not the opposite, that's not what I just said, doesn't mean it's not going to work. We're just talking about on just a plain level of the elements of how things operate. So when you start utilizing and learning about these elements, you will begin to start utilizing how, even though you're a predominant element, you still learn how to master the other elements that you're not engulfed in. And by understanding those other elements, it will cause you to become the master mental alchemist. Why? Because you will have learned how to master those elements. I think that when we look at when we looked at the water sign and those who are operating in the water sign, and you're operating with your emotions, your feelings, your intuition, the subconscious mind, right? And you're learning how to become adaptable, right? Water is able to adapt because water is liquid, it's the fluidity, right? And so it's able to adapt. You're able to get into your intuition. You're able to really kind of, people who are water signs could be somewhere and says something doesn't feel right. I met the gentleman, but his energy was a little off to me. There was something about him that I couldn't really embrace, right? Water is often associated with the healing realm, right? Of being able to be good healers and being able to be in that aspect, right? So these are just some of the things that we look at when we're dealing with the different signs, the different elements that we are connected to. Your element, your dominant element, is how you are going to be for your life, for this incarnation. So if you're Earth, you're dealing with Earth. There's nothing wrong with being practical. Practical is a very good thing because, unlike myself, I'm a water sign, and I'm a dreamer. I dream, I think, I vision, I manifest, I meditate. I do all of the dreamy, floating around stuff. That's why, for me, the Earth sign compliments me because it brings me down to reality and says, all right, guy, you got all these dreams, you got all these goals. Let's get something on paper. Let's get going. Let's start putting it to work. Let's start putting it into action. Let's start, getting this stuff executed. Let's start executing these things. Don't just write the goals down. Let's start executing them. So I think that when you understand your element, you understand who you are. It gives you a little bit more clarity of, I am the way that I am. And then you have to understand the different levels of Earth signs. So, if you're a Taurus, you're totally different from a Virgo. And if you're a Virgo, you're totally different from a Capricorn. Those three signs are Earth elements, but they're totally three different Earth elements. So they're Earth, but there's three different levels or three different variations of that Earth element. Anybody that's listening in, you're an Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. The Aries is totally different from a Leo, and a Leo is totally different from a Sagittarius. A Sagittarius is totally different from the Aries and a Leo. So they're all fire signs, but they're different variations. So you learn about yourself. You learn, yeah, I'm a fire sign, but what kind of fire sign am I? I'm an air sign, right? I'm a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius. A Gemini is nowhere connected close to what a Libra is, and a Libra is nowhere connected to what an Aquarius is, and an Aquarius is nothing like a Gemini or a Libra. But they're all of the air sign, the air element. So you learn what variation of the air element am I? This gives you knowledge of who you are. It gives you a self-discovery of who you are. But at the same time, it opens up your perception. It changes the lens from how you see everything. Because now you start operating out of elements and you realize the power of that knowledge of the elemental variations. There's people who are water signs like myself. A Pisces is nothing like a Cancer. A Cancer is nothing like a Scorpio. And a Scorpio is nothing like the Cancer or the Pisces. But they're all of the same element. So, yeah, we do have a connection because we're water signs, but we're all totally different. We're not the same. You understanding these elements. Now, listen, I know you may be thinking, oh, my God, we're talking about mental alchemy. Yes, these elements are important because these elements will bring you into a level of understanding who you are. When you get ready to start manifesting, you know how you're manifesting. I'm an air sign. I know that the most dominant trait is going to be my mental capacity. I'm a water sign. I know that one of the most dominant capacities that I have in manifesting is going to be my intuition, my feeling nature. I'm a fire sign. I know that one of the most dominant traits that I have when it comes to manifesting is going to be my ability to be passionate, to be determined, to have a strong will about what's going to happen and how can I maintain this motivation and inspiration to keep going, right? If you are an earth sign, you're going to know that it is my dominant trait that I need to be as practical as possible. I need to see everything. I need to have it in writing. I need to be able to touch it, feel it, see it. I need all of that. I can't go by what somebody told you. I can't go by what you heard. I can't go by what might happen, what might not happen, what should have happened, what could have happened. No, I need to know what is. The Bible says now faith is the substance. So an earth sign is going to be, I need to know what is, not what you think or what you hope or what you wish for, but I need to have practicality. And so when you do that, this, my friend, is what's going to lead us into becoming great mental alchemists. When we embrace our element. This is good teaching, man. I want you, if you could, I want you to definitely share this, put this out, let people know we're going to be here every Sunday, same time, same place, and we're going to keep going. We're going to keep expanding our journey and learning about how to become a mental alchemist. I want to be able to manifest the desires of my heart. We're on the foundational level. We're learning the foundation. We got to crawl before we can walk. And so this is where we are now. We're at the foundational level. We're learning the elements of ourselves, our core being of who we are. I'm not ashamed to be a water sign. I'm not ashamed to be a fire sign. I'm not ashamed to be an air sign. I'm not ashamed to be an earth sign. Now I know who I am. I have a little bit more confidence. I have a little bit more surety in how I operate because I'm coming into a level of self-discovery on a spiritual connotation. See, they teach that astrology and the horoscope signs is like a divination. Like, oh, I'm going to read my horoscope, and today my horoscope told me that I would meet somebody and fall in love. But no. That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the actual factuals of what it is. Your elemental, what your dominant element is how you're going to operate. So you must always understand in everything you do, even in life, even after you get off of this teaching, even after you go for the rest of this afternoon and go into doing the things that you're doing and realizing, wait a minute, he's right. You know what? When you look at your children and you look at your husband and you look at your wife and you look at your sisters and brothers and your family members, you begin to realize everybody really operates in their element. They are who they are. Everybody operates in their element. And so when you understand that, it's definitely a game changer. it's a game changer. And so I want to thank all of you for tuning in to this broadcast. Thank you. Listen, I am so excited about how we are moving along. Those of you that might be new to this platform, if you check in the description, I have the replays. The tail end of last year, we got into the teachings of the law of prosperity, the laws of prosperity, and you definitely want to jump on those. You definitely want to get involved and get on that. I also did a State of the Union address and discussed some things on I think our last teaching was the law of expansion. So if you go to the archives, you're going to see the law of expansion. That's where I did the State of the Union address of 2024. And a lot of things I talked about on that Sunday has already started to kick off already. You know, and it's amazing how we're only 14 days into the new year, and a lot of what I talked about has already started moving into it, has already started coming into fruition. You know, just to let you know, I was telling some people to start getting into cryptocurrency. What happens? The SEC just did the release of the EFTs. So now that all these investment bank companies going to now start using cryptocurrency, right? There's a lot of things we discussed. Go listen, just go jump on that call, listen to it, get your pen and your paper. There's a lot of things I told people they need. It was a phenomenal time. So if you click on the link in the description below, you'll see where it says access to the replays, and you can get access to the replays and go back and listen to the laws of prosperity. But the one I'm specifically talking about that gives you a little foresight of 2024 is going to be the call called the law of expansion. So you can go and jump on that. We're operating in our level of circulation. What I mean by circulation, we believe that everything we release out of our hands, it comes back to its original point of origin. And so we're still operating in our prosperity. The year 2024 is the year of prosperity. It's the year of manifestation, the number 8, right? If you add 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4, you get 8, right? And so this is definitely a year of manifestation, and we're excited about it. As it is in heaven, so shall it be on earth. And so we're asking everybody that can and will to donate or to sow a seed or to, be liberal in their giving by sowing a $26 seed. 26, 2 plus 6 is the number 8. 8 is that number of manifestation, is that number of prosperity, of business, of entrepreneurship. And so those of you that want to donate, sow the seed, do realize that all of your gifts, whether you want to sow more than 26, whether you don't have 26 and you want to sow whatever you have, do know this. Everybody who sows, I speak it into existence that you receive a 100-fold return that circulates back to you. Also, I speak it into existence that everybody who does so, that you will begin to see that everything you touch, your hands begin to touch, will begin to prosper and will begin to be made successful. There's 3 ways that you can sow your seed, give your donation, release your gift, and the first way is Cash App. So it's going to be $TOESC. All the ways to give are also going to be in the bottom description. So it's going to be Cash App, TOESC. Then also we have Zelle and PayPal. Zelle and PayPal are both going to be the same thing. It's our email, info, INFO, @TOESC.org. That's our email address. Once again, it's also in the description. You can click on it. You can sow through PayPal, Zelle, or we can do Cash App. So we want to thank all of you for tuning in to this. Please share. Please, if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. Also, begin to like as well. As we're moving into this year, we're coming into some great, great times. Keep your eye out for January 21st. And like I said, go back and listen to that call. The law of expansion, I did go over a few things that everybody needs to know about. I don't know if I would really want to discuss them here on this platform. I don't want my channel or anything to be shut down, so that's why you want to go to the archives and listen to those things. But one of the things I wanted to say too is that you know, we just experienced the new moon on the 11th in Capricorn. We all know that Capricorn is an earth sign, so we do know that this is the time for practicality. This is the time to receive things in the physical realm, in the physical aspects. So those of you that are manifesting and really want to bring things into fruition, definitely still work with that new moon in Capricorn. Still work with it, and then also, if any of you want to book a consultation with me, the link is in the description below. You can book a consultation with me, and I'm willing to work with you and really let's see if we can tap into finding out the hand that you were dealt and also showing you how to play that hand to win. I want you to know this one thing. Your destiny is not a matter of chance, but it's a matter of choice. I want you to know one thing. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.